Critascissor. If you have ever played American McGee's Alice, you'll be in for a surprise with this game. Alice, Madness Returns is a direct sequel, released in 2011. Let's get started.
Very upsetting journey, but I'm rid of Pris, or whatever she's become.
Alice, better now, aren't we?
My head's exploded and there's a steam hammer in my chest.
Madness Returns follows the story of the first game, and improves in areas where it lacked. It explains a couple of things that left people clueless. For example, the cause of the house fire that eventually led to Alice's insanity. It also adapts the lore provided from the books and approaches Alice in a unique way that is entertaining yet freaky. There is no doubt about it. Madness Returns is a demented game, made as such to reflect Alice's state of mind, and does a damn good job at it. Over the course of the game, it gets more demented with each new area that is encountered. This affects the game as a whole, and therefore this is not an ideal game for children. The majority of the game is platforming, so if you have trouble tolerating jumping from platform to platform, I would really look elsewhere. With that said, the game executes platforming rather well, and slightly challenges players to think before they jump. Is that really a good way to reach that platform? How the hell do I get there? What the hell? Invisible platforms. Oh god, there's a timer. I better haul ass. Collectibles. These are something that keeps the player from easily reaching that 100% completion. And there is a plethora of them scattered throughout the game. But one of the more important types of collectibles are memories, which add lore to the characters in the story. This I found to be an interesting feature of the game.
Amanita muscaria, Alice, is merely a stinky toadstool. A spongy consistency, but poisonous.
The game's environment alternates between Victorian London and Wonderland, in which Alice changes her appearance respective to where she is currently at. Within Wonderland though, there are different areas, and Alice can change her outfit within them too. They may be changed manually within the menu, and each dress provides a different bonus. This improves immersion and reflects the mood when it comes to understanding Alice and her surroundings. The pacing, in my opinion, is a bit odd. The gameplay features platforming, puzzles, and minigames, all with the side of combat squeezed in between these sections, just to prolong the game. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, throughout the majority of the game, the player focuses on the platforming aspect, yet puzzles and combat are just randomly thrown in there, just to make the game feel longer. But in the end run, it just makes it feel weird and a little bit off. I'm not gonna lie, the story is pretty crazy by itself, and I bet it was risky approaching Alice in a dark and unique way, but sometimes I found it hard to completely understand what was occurring in the storyline. It sometimes feels as if the developers threw in random crazy ass ideas from the ass of Tim Burton himself in order to confuse the hell out of the players by providing delirious situations in the plot.
No idea how humble a home could be, if not.
The game scheme, you know, the way the game is set up, is rather predictable. This isn't much of a problem, but around halfway through the game, it almost makes the game a chore because one can easily foreshadow how a situation is going to occur. Basically, the game goes from the real world to Wonderland, then deeper inside Wonderland, and then back to the real world. The whole game basically repeats this cycle the entire time, and I call it the Assassin's Creed syndrome. As you now know, Alice is a platformer game, but that doesn't mean it ends there. The game features combat, which to my surprise isn't half bad. It isn't revolutionary or anything of that kind of level, but it does work. It's decent, flows well, and contains peculiar weapons that can be enhanced to become stronger and faster. Though the game kind of falls flat since you can simply run around with a knife throughout the entire game and not have a problem, and the combat gets a bit dull after the first few encounters. This game is a port. That means it was designed for the console and not the PC in mind. Since I only played the PC version of the game, I found a couple of minor issues while progressing through it. The first thing that I noticed was that the lock-on system wasn't very controllable, making it a tad bit hard to switch to who I really wanted to fight. The second issue I found was that when manually aiming, the crosshair felt a little sluggy and didn't flow well with the mouse movement. There wasn't anything game-breaking, but it did become a nuisance. One last thing, which I found to be a little disappointing, was the extremely low difficulty of the game. There was little to no punishment for messing up a jump and falling to my death, in which a few seconds later, I just teleported a few feet from where I fell off. I found this sort of child's play with other games like Fable 3 and Prince of Persia, and although it didn't ruin the experience, it made it feel like they didn't really want to bother making the game challenging, and this might put off a couple of players. To sum it all up, Alice Madness Returns is a solid platforming game that has its flaws, but it's worth at least playing once, and I'd say the main incentive is the story. Thank you so much for watching Critascissor. This has been your host, Jesus, signing off.